Ruto fire meets House of Mumbi ice. Barafu. Drama bin drama, Arab drama, ole drama, Nyar drama, yote pamoja, side drama zote. Ayayayayayayayaya. Folks, the mountain is on fire. I can't put it any other way. Mount Kenya, mambo yamewaka. If there's one thing that is very clear right now, after all the drama that has unfolded, that one thing is that the House of Mumbi are circling the wagons. They're regrouping. I'm looking for the right English word. They're uniting to speak with one voice, to act like one person. That should be very clear in our politics. Now, I know there's been a lot of confusion as well as excitement over recent events linked to the Mount Kenya region. The request, for instance, by Deputy President Gachagua to meet with Uhuru, and the request by Maina Njenga at the men's conference, very unique men's conference, at Kenol Muranga, for Rigathi Gachagua, Uhuru Kenyatta to make an appearance together with him, I believe for the purposes of charting the way forward for the Agikuyu. Now, I noticed that we have a lot of confusion over the recent political events, over the way the House of Mumbi normally behaves, and people are getting a headache trying to read what is happening, okay? And I get that, and I'll tell you the reason why, and you'll not like it, most of you. It is because of ignoring history. Now, I'm aware of the fact that we have many Kikuyu haters out there, and I've been accused many times on this channel for favoring the Agikuyu. But let me make it clear, I don't favor anybody. I believe our differences of opinion over this great community in the country called Kenya, is because of only one small thing. I have gone out of my way to understand where our brothers and sisters from the House of Mumbi are coming from. When you understand that, you'll understand a lot of things. And maybe like me, you'll begin to love very deeply the Kikuyu community. Let me just quickly summarize the background of this community. Trust me, it is very important. You will not be able to understand anything. You'll not even be able to understand what's going on unless you have this background. And don't worry, it is not a long lecture. It is a very brief summary. Point number one, the Kikuyu are survivors par excellence. You can't beat them at that. Surviving? Iyo wachie. Wachie wa Kikuyu. They are survivors. And this did not start yesterday. No. This started centuries ago. It is in their DNA. Point number two. The Kikuyu have never, and I challenge you to do your own research and to come back and tell me I'm wrong. The Kikuyu community has never been defeated in a common cause. Never ever. Mbeberu alijaribu akashindwa. Moi tried it, it didn't work. In fact, when Moi tried it and became very hard on the community, that was the end of his presidency. Read your history. Allow me some super fascinating asides. If you want to know that the Kikuyu are survivors, you will need to ask yourself how the Kikuyu survived as neighbors of the very fierce Maasai community. If you read your history, you will know or rather we were told, that the interior was hostile only because of one community, the fierce Maasai. Yeah, people were able to deal with the lions, even the man-eating lions at Tsavo. On their way inland from Mombasa, they were able to deal with so many other challenges. But when they reached the Maasai country, hakuna kupita. That was a colossal challenge. But the Kikuyu were neighbors, and the two communities fought frequently. But actually, the relationship of these two communities is very complicated. Somebody should do a study soon. For instance, even when these two communities were at war, they had rules. For example, they could not attack women. So you'd find the Maasai and the Kikuyu at war, very serious, very fierce, and women are trading as usual. And here is something else mind-blowing. When there was famine, a lot of hunger, what would happen is that the Maasai community would exchange their girls for food. And so what would happen is that they would look for their most beautiful lasses, the Maasai, hand them over to the Kikuyu in exchange for food. And these beautiful young girls would be raised in the Kikuyu community and become part of the Kikuyu community. Their foster parents would even accept bride price for them when the time for them to get married arrived. I believe you've already gotten the point I'm trying to get across. There was a lot of mixture of blood between the Kikuyu and the Maasai. But my apologies for getting carried away. What we need to understand very well is how the community survives. They survive by coming together. And when the Kikuyu come together, mark my words, there is no objective which they aim to achieve that will fail. Of course, there's always a first time, so wait for the first time when they will fail. But so far, not even once. But the best way of illustrating how quickly things have changed is to look at the event in Nyeri a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it was a funeral, which was attended by both Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Maina Njenga. And at that function, Maina Njenga, who has obviously been on a mission since early this year, a mission whose objective has something to do with the community, the House of Mumbi community. Maina Njenga requested for a handshake with Rigathi Gachagua. Now, Rigathi Gachagua's response, Bwana Gachagua said that there was no way that UDA, Kenya Kwanza, was going to have a discussion with an outlawed criminal gang. His exact words. Of course, he was referring to Mungiki. Maina Njenga came into prominence as leader of the Mungiki. Now, of course, at that time, Rigathi Gachagua was talking very much like he was Ruto's left and right hand, or Siamese twin. Well, today, just a handful of weeks later, Rigathi Gachagua is talking a different tune. He's talking about uniting the House of Mumbi. And then he tells us the whole objective is to get them to support Ruto. Now hold on a minute. Go anywhere in the Mount Kenya region today and start talking about the Kenya Kwanza government, and you will see the reaction. Okay? Let me give you an example that has been in the news. Kanini Kega, the man who hijacked the Jubilee Party from Uhuru, together with another nice lady from Murang'a called Sabina Chege, that guy, was shouted down in Ruiru. And actually he was in serious trouble. He was going to be harmed by the very furious crowd. Guess who saved him? Maina Njenga. Now there's something else we really need to understand, before we even go any further. The House of Mumbi never unites for nothing. And so maybe we need to find out what is the problem. What problem is this that has caused the House of Mumbi to come out in force like they have in recent times, shaking the entire country called Kenya to its very foundations? What is the reason? Actually, it's very simple. Most from this community are traders. Most from this community are doing business. Now, what is currently happening to small traders? Actually, traders of all sizes, big, small, medium, etc., etc., and businessmen in Kenya. What is happening to them? There are serious hiccups, serious problems, mainly caused by the policies of the Ruto administration. Okay? Bila kizungu mingi, the community's livelihood has been destroyed. It's as simple as that. And so what they need is a very quick solution. Forget about 2027 politics. That is too far off. They need a solution now. Okay, that's important to understand, so that we're able to predict what is going to happen shortly. Because what is going to happen shortly, and I believe many of us already know, is that there's going to be a very serious backlash. You can even call it the Mount Kenya revolution, that is going to unfold and face the Kenya Kwanza government. Something else, when you hear the community has united, and then somebody comes and tells you that there are two factions of the House of Mumbi, there are two factions of Mount Kenya involved, ignore them, because they are lying. That can never happen. Not the Kikuyu. For instance, other communities have no problem splitting their votes. The Luyas do it. The Kambas have done it in recent times. Many other communities in our beautiful country have split their votes. The Kikuyu, forget it. They will never split their votes. They will always do their things like one man. Large community, the most populous community in our country, but they'll always do their things as one man. Especially when there's a crisis they need to sort out, like the current one facing the community. Simply put, don't ask if Rigathi Gachagua is going to unite with Uhuru Kenyatta, is going to unite with Maina Njenga, the three of them in one camp. Don't ask if that is going to happen. Indeed, actually, I believe it has already happened. But don't ask if that is going to happen. Maybe what you should ask is when we will see this clearly in public. That is the question you need to ask. That is a foregone conclusion, if you understand this community and where they're coming from. And I believe we have already been given the evidence. Mchana, not even at night. Maina Njenga at the men's conference asked the charged, huge, humongous, colossal crowd if they wanted him to bring Rigiji and Uhuru together. Of course, assuming he'd also be there. And the crowd responded very enthusiastically, yes, in the Gikuyu language, which I understand fairly well, actually. So there you are, the doubting Thomases. Now, before I pass on the information I've been getting about what is really going on behind the scenes, let us address another very key issue here for total understanding of this topic. And let us start in the form of a question. And the question is retired former President Uhuru Kenyatta aware of what Maina Njenga is doing or trying to do on behalf of the community? Because I believe Uhuru Kenyatta is still the leader of the community, because the elders have not told us otherwise. They announced, I believe in 2013, that he was the recognized leader of the House of Mumbi. And to date, they have not told us otherwise. So we have to assume that is still the leader. Now my answer to that question is what Maina Njenga said at the men's conference. What did he say about Uhuru Kenyatta? He told the mammoth crowd that he was bringing greetings from former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Didn't he? So that should make it very clear. Now that I've given you all those very key pieces of information, let me move on to what I have been hearing from some of my most trusted sources on the ground. Now, what really took me by surprise was the following. We have been having regular, constant, persistent night meetings of major leaders and major characters of the Kikuyu community. People have been meeting at night for extended meetings. What could they be discussing? The weather, perhaps? How there's flooding in some parts of the country, and in some parts of the country the rains are late. The October rains? Of course not. They've been discussing the unity of the community. And that's not all. They've been discussing something else even more critical. And that is, to put it in simple language, Kenyan style, they've been discussing the way forward. And remember what we always say on this channel. Everything is linked most of the time. You will have heard of the formation of a lobby group called Kamwene Leadership Forum. I'm sure you've heard of that one. And I'm sure anybody who concludes that the formation of this forum has something to do with these night meetings that have been going on within the Mount Kenya region, that person would be forgiven for making such a link without evidence. But in my opinion, it should be obvious. There is a link based on what we have already said. The way the community normally acts, what they do when they're faced with a challenge, like the current challenge. Bottom line, the administration of William Samoei Ruto, the presidency of William Samoei Ruto, is in the most serious trouble it has ever been since it came into power. That is really what this is. The last time the community behaved like this, it was the beginning of the end of the Moi era. I'm talking about the second liberation of Kenya. In the 90s, and at that time, the House of Mumbi joined the rest of Kenyans in fighting for the common cause, which was the second liberation, under the banner, Yote Yawezekana Bila Moi. In other words, Moi had to be removed for the country to go forward. That is what happened the last time the community mobilized the way it is now. And so, it is safe to predict that the same thing is going to happen this time around. Granted, the details are going to be different, very different, but the headlines are going to be more or less the same. And you need to know that in this particular instance, all this would have been avoidable. The Kenya Kwanza administration would have easily avoided this crisis. But what did they do? They actually did everything they could. They went out of their way to fan the fires, to trigger what is unfolding in Kenya at the moment. How so? Let's take the Rigathi Gachagua saga as a good example. In this life, madharau sio mzuri. It is not good to belittle people, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how powerful you think you are. Belittling people, putting them down, that is never a good idea. And I have good reason to believe that what made Rigathi Gachagua lose it, move from that position he had in Nyeri at that funeral, where he said he has nothing to discuss with an outlawed criminal gang, to the situation today, his position today, where he's looking for Uhuru Kenyatta, where emissaries are being sent back and forth between Rigiji and Maina Njenga. To reach that situation, it was all caused by Madharau. You see, when things got hot for Bwana Gachagua within UDA, there was an assumption amongst those close to the president that Rigiji is not a political force in Mount Kenya and even anywhere in the country. He's not. This is a one-term MP. Now, all that is very true. Yeah, it's correct. It's factual. However, you see, in politics, like in life, there is another factor which is much more dangerous, because most of the times you don't see it coming. Yeah? And this factor can cause somebody who is not powerful, somebody who is not a political force, to cause you great damage. What factor am I talking about? It is the factor of time and a chance. Yeah? Remember my favorite verse in the Bible? For everything under the sun, there is a time and a chance. The race is not to the fastest, nor victory to the strongest. I'm paraphrasing. It is not always the most skilled person who wins, or the richest person who wins. No. We're all controlled by something called time and a chance. Bila kizungu mingi, that is the factors on the ground, the very unique factors on the ground at any particular time and moment. Yeah? And the opportunity that presents itself because of those factors. I believe it was a fatal mistake by the UDA high table to turn on the heat on Rigathi Gachagua, assuming that he has got nowhere to go. He has got no political clout. Because what has happened as a result is that he has gone back to his community, to his people. And that is why he's constantly talking about uniting the community so that it speaks as one voice. And that, my friends, I can assure you, confirmed information, is going to cause very serious trouble for the Kenya Kwanza government. Indeed, it is already causing serious trouble, because my latest information is that nobody knows what to do to sort out this problem. Yeah? And I believe there's no solution, in my opinion. It is too late. The damage has been done. That train has left the station at high speed. It can't be stopped. Yeah? Of course, I'll keep you updated, because I predict things are going to move very fast from here going forward. Very, very fast. So fast that it'll be easy to miss things. Yeah, but don't worry. I'm here for you. And I'm keeping a very close eye on the mountain. Yeah, because the mountain right now is on fire. Please allow me a quick reminder. My classic audiobook, The Ruto Kenyans Will Never Know. This is a must read. Yeah. And if you want to take it in the form of an audiobook, that is still okay. In fact, most people are doing that because people are busy. They like to multitask as they take in this information. This is information you cannot afford to miss, because it will help you understand even why this Mount Kenya crisis has come about in the first place. Yeah? It is careless leadership, not thinking things through. You know, when you're at the level of leading an entire country, you have to be very careful about your decisions. You have to think about your decisions twice, 3 times, even 10 times before you take action. Because one small mistake, one small assumption resulting in madharau can cause you untold damage. You can see details of how to get hold of my book. I highly recommend it. Go for it. For only Kenya shillings 2007 or only $20, you can get your hands on this very, very valuable information. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.